Hey, how's it going? It's episode 12 of the Barstool Baltimore Podcast. What started off as a fairly quiet week in Baltimore has erupted into the hot stove week we've all been anticipating. The Orioles are looking to sign both a starting pitcher and the outfielder that they've needed so desperately. We're here to discuss it. I'm here with RDT. How are we doing tonight?
Good. Like you said, just kind of sitting around, refreshing Twitter every few minutes, waiting to see if any news breaks. I turned on notifications for when Rockabaco tweets anything, so I can, see it as soon as it happens. And yeah, I guess we're just waiting right now.
We've been waiting for months, man. It's a lot like the college football search for Maryland. I was tagged on notifications from Jeff Erman. I was just dying with every tweet that hit my phone. Thought maybe this might be the news break that I've been waiting for, and it took weeks and weeks and weeks. Anybody but Ed Saul. So here, just give me anybody is kind of the opposite. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I feel like now that they named those guys, that's who we want. I mean, I sat there for 30 minutes last night watching Dexter Fowler highlight tapes, and I've fell in love with him. He's a guy that I think we name dropped him a few episodes back on guys we would like, but we didn't think it would happen. Probably thought he would have been gone by now. I know I expected him to get a bigger contract.
That was the shocking part by far when I woke up on, I think, Wednesday morning. Buster Olney dropped a tweet saying that executives didn't think that he would get any more than, I forget who it was.
Howie
Kendrick's 2-year, $20 million deal, which was stunning to me because Fowler, to me, he's an on-base machine. He should be getting upwards of, close to $15 million a year, probably 4 or 5 years. So to see that he was that affordable and seeing that it filled a need, at least in the batting order, pretty well. Doesn't fit perfectly in the outfield, but we can make do with that. If for giving up a first-round pick, I think it's well worth it. The caveat here is that when you throw Gallardo in the mix, the starting pitching is what's needed to be upgraded the most. So just the fact that we'd be giving away a second-round pick and not a first-round pick for one or the other, you might as well just go all in because I think the starting pitching is the one thing that needs the improvement, and Fowler is that much of a value at that price that I think it'd be a home run if they got both. And then, but you can't do it halfway. You can't do one or the other. You got to get both.
Yeah, no half measures. I think you got to go all in on this one. And I know, at the beginning of the year, going all in for the Orioles wasn't going to be Yovani Gallardo and Dexter Fowler. But now to this point it is, because there's no better pitcher out there. There's no better outfield arm out there, or, outfielder out there right now. And like you said, I think Fowler fits the lineup perfect. We kind of went over this off air, throwing up our dream lineups with him in. And I think he would look awesome at the top of that lineup. He'd give you pop. I think he could easily hit over 20 home runs there. With that short porch in right field. The fielding, he's a good fielder. I don't really know much about his arm. I don't think it's anything to write home about. But you could stick him in right, Jones in center. Even when Jones wants a day off, if he gets hurt again, you could switch him right over to center, and then you put Hyun-Soo Kim in left. And yeah, just kind of we'll go from there. And then with Gallardo, they had there's I don't know if you heard it. He was saying he was pretty much describing Ubaldo Jimenez, where he said he's going to throw 105 pitches in 5 innings, 5 1/3. 75% of the time he'll throw 22 pitches or more, like in the first inning. Which as soon as I heard that it screamed Ubaldo to me. But right now, I think I'll take him. It's going to be, he's a better option than Vance Worley or Tyler Wilson or Mike Wright or someone like that at this point, because there's really no one else out there unless they're gonna kick the tires on Cliff Lee or someone like that. So I think giving up the draft picks, like you said, go big or go home. You gotta if you're gonna give up one, I think you gotta give up both. And I think that's the only way it's going to happen. I don't think they get one or the other. I think they get both or none.
Part of it is that he's going to probably be taking a few innings away from Miguel Gonzalez. If he bumps him back to the 5 spot, we can skip him in the rotation in certain circumstances. And it's really the consistency that's sometimes been an issue in the rotation. And Gallardo is exactly that. I mean, Chen was the most consistent pitcher probably last year, and maybe of the past 3 years. He'd give you 5 or 6. He wouldn't give you too much more. He wouldn't throw, 2 hitters or, go deep into games, but he'd get it to your bullpen in manageable shape, give the bats an opportunity to win games, which is exactly what they need. So he's pretty much a plug for Chen, and just because he's not left-handed I don't think that takes anything away from him. I think that's kind of an overrated notion that we need a left-hander, and I think Buck kind of shot that down on the radio tonight. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. If you go back and think about who departed from this team, it was Chen and Pierce, and they've pretty much made an improvement probably with Trumbo over Pierce.
Yeah,
and they've probably made a straight swap with Gallardo and Chen, and for cheaper than Chen got on the market. So
yeah, Gallardo, like I said, he's another guy who I don't know what he thought he was going to get. He obviously turned down a qualifying offer, so he probably thought he could get a pretty good contract. But I mean, you go back and look at it since 2009, he started at least 30 games every year, and he's pitched I think over 180 innings every year since then too. Like you were saying, he is the workhorse. But like I mean, with Chen, he's not going to go out and give you, like you were mentioning, 6 or 7. But hey, he'll go out and give you 5, 5 1/3, 5 2/3. But with this bullpen, with O'Day back and Britton and Givens and guys like that, Brock, maybe we don't need him to go that. We don't need him to go 6, 7, 8. So yeah,
if he can
do that.
The goal on a nightly basis should be trying to turn games into 6-inning games. Just make it a sprint to the 7th, and if we're in good shape there, then we're going to win a lot of games.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of do that. That Royals game plan kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Just get it to the pen and we'll shut it down. And also with Fowler, like you had mentioned with Gallardo taking away innings from Miguel Gonzalez, Fowler in right would mean that we don't see Trumbo in the outfield, which I think is something that we may see with him not there. So yeah, that's definitely an upgrade with Fowler coming in. So
my favorite thing about Fowler is that just in general, he complements everyone else in the lineup really well. We've got a lot of guys who swing and miss, a lot of guys that don't take pitchers deep into counts, don't rack up pitch counts, and he'll do that at the top of the order, and he'll get on base. He's never been below 345 on base percentage, and Adam Jones has never reached 335 in any of his seasons. So, like, if you look at it like that, I'm not by any means saying Dexter Fowler is a better baseball player than Adam Jones. That'd be ludicrous, but it just brings another element to the table that the Orioles really haven't had in the past few years. I mean, when was the last time you could look back at an Orioles leadoff hitter and say, man, that was a great table setter? I mean, Markakis did the job well, but he didn't, I don't know.
I'm guessing it's Brian Roberts,
Yeah.
Back when he was healthy and not the years where he was robbing them with his concussion.
Right. And Markakis wasn't like a purebred leadoff hitter. He kind of developed into it, and he fit the role really well because he was very mechanical and all that stuff. But yeah, he's a switch hitter too. It's other than Wieters, we don't really have that. So
yeah, the switch hitting thing that I think that's perfect. Why you plug him right into the top. I think he hits pretty well from the left side against righties, which I mean Camden Yards is pretty much perfect for that. If he scored 100 runs last year, and at the top of that dangerous Cubs lineup, I think the Orioles lineup it reminds me of that. It's the same thing pretty much. So he could easily score 100 there if you just plug him in. Yeah, he walks a ton. 84 walks last year, and like I said, on base percentage of 346. I think you had told me that would have been third highest on the team last year, behind I think it was Manny and Davis. So I'd take that any day.
The other thing about his season last year, his one season in Chicago, is that he started off really slow, and then he came on strong enough to bring his numbers back to what they usually are from year to year. So he was really, really in a rut there. So I think the fact that he came on strong means he figured something out, and we can expect a lot of production out of him. Obviously, should we get him? I feel like we are already I think counting our chickens a little bit before they're hatched, knowing Angelos is probably involved. And if those two are smart, they're leveraging each other. They're kind of colluding and using that as leverage to get a few more bucks. But who knows what's going on behind the scenes? All we can do is really sit on our hands and wait.
Yeah, I meant to look up. I'm looking up now their agents. It looks like Fowler was with Scott Boras and fired him. So that's already a win in my book. Yeah, and Gallardo, they have different agents. Neither are Scott Boras, which that always jumps out at me. Yeah, I think you're right. That would be smart for them to kind of not pair up, but at least communicate. I'm sure their agents have talked to each other and tried to get something figured out. But yeah, I like you said, I think we're definitely counting our chickens before they hatch, just because it's a slow time. I feel like it got reported hard yesterday. It almost seemed like this was going to happen at any minute. I remember I was driving home yesterday, constantly refreshing and checking the radio just to hear. And then I think Rock tweeted out tonight that they're still just in discussions and he doesn't see anything happening too soon. So maybe this happens right before spring training. I think that's when they signed Ubaldo. I think he actually had his press conference down in Sarasota. One of those late signings.
And it was again one of those, hey, we signed one, we might as well sign the other deals. So very similar to 13, 14. Yeah.
Yeah, and they even signed, I think when they signed Cruz, they gave up like the 55th pick or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like a mid-50s pick, which, I mean, you go back and look at that. I'm not going to compare Dexter Fowler to Nelson Cruz, but I think this is a similar pickup like that. If it happens, another similar pickup like that.
Now, I think we can give up these picks a little bit more easily than we did then, because we actually have a few more compensation picks right after that second round pick. I think we have right now, before giving away those picks, we have 6 in the first 70 picks maybe or something. I forget what the exact number was, but something where this draft class isn't like completely shot. It's obviously given away prime value, but it's not going to murder this particular draft class.
Yeah. And I was watching MLB Network the other night, and Eric Burns, I tweeted this out, that Eric Burns was saying that I don't think the Orioles should give up the 14th pick for Gallardo. Gallardo's not that good. Plus, look at the players that have been picked at number 14 in the last few years. And number 1 was Jose Fernandez. And he goes, you could get a Jose Fernandez at 14. Like, well, you idiot. You can get a Jose Fernandez anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's 14, 25, or 37. It doesn't. I thought that just made no sense to me, because then I tweeted that and someone tweeted back to me, Mike Piazza was drafted with, pick number 1,390. So should the Orioles never trade that pick either because Mike Piazza was picked there? I don't know. He ran into way too many walls when he was playing. He fake hustled way too hard. I never liked him.
He ran over too many of his co-hosts in that MLB.
Yeah, while wearing suits.
Yes,
but he was a fake tough guy, or a fake hustle guy to me. Diving on a lot of plays he didn't need to, and
he was fun about it. I think somebody like Torrey Hunter's fake hustle and doesn't really. I don't know.
I can see that.
With this, he doesn't cover as much ground, and he didn't in his prime either, as people think. His range wasn't as great, and I don't know. He made some great acrobatic catches, and I can't take that away from him. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't like Torrey just because of what when he and Bud got into it 2014, 13, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, haven't let that one go.
Nope.
So I'm hearing, I've been down in the cubes. It's tax season for me, so I've had my head in the sand. I hear the promotional schedule came out today.
Yes, it has. Let me read. I loved last year's schedule. I thought it was great. I did a blog listing the top 10. I'll probably do that again tonight. Type that up. So I guess they do. Good. Yeah, thanks. They do these down in spring training. So we'll start it off. They're giving out a bird of paradise flower. No idea what that is. They also don't include any pictures yet. So
that sucks.
Yeah. Then let me see. Monday, March 7th, they have the seniors run the bases night. All fans 60 and over.
What? Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a train wreck.
I
My
think
God. They
that's
better
gonna
bring
be
the stretchers
fantastic.
by the dozens.
And you got to think, because it's down in Sarasota, I'm sure there's tons of nursing homes down there. Just a
Oh,
bunch
I
of old Jewish.
didn't even occur to me that it was in
Yeah,
Florida
it's
either.
just a bunch of old Jewish people just trotting around the bases in their Velcro shoes and high white socks. That'll be
Miriam's gonna drop her oxygen drip out by second base.
exactly. Yeah. Have a big pile up. I guess that's really it. They give out a Chick-fil-A cow plush toy in spring training too. Opening day, they give out a 2016 scheduled Fathead. Whatever.
Scheduled Fathead now instead of like a magnet.
Yeah, it says Fathead decal.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm always a
Oh,
fan
I
of the
gave that
magnet.
out last year actually. Yeah, I have one up here. Yeah, I have one in my closet there. I put the Angry Bird in my truck. It's great. Great sticker.
They got an Orioles kids T-shirt Sunday, April 10th for 14 and under. They do the student nights, the dugout club, stuff like that. There's a youth baseball day. They're giving out an Orioles. Oh, go on.
I'm not sure if I've renewed my dugout club membership yet. It's a high priority that I haven't done yet. I think I've been in the actual club for 21 years, and you have to be under age 12 or something. But they keep sending me renewals, so I keep getting lunch boxes full of stickers and shit, and tickets, free tickets, man.
Fake it till you make it. I guess let's see. We got the Orioles canvas tote. First 10,000 female fans. They're giving away a Mother's Day infinity scarf. I don't know what an infinity scarf is. That's Mother's Day, Sunday, May 8th. Let's see. We got fireworks, a youth bat and ball set. That could get kind of dangerous against the Tigers.
Probably those cushiony things.
Yeah. Field trip day. That day is always terrible at the yard.
It's a weekday, I'm sure.
It's a Thursday, 12:30 game. Yeah, the Mariners, yeah. Orioles Memorial Day T-shirt on Monday, May 30th. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know. Memorial Day T-shirt. It says all fans. I don't know what we're in for. Here you go. Orioles golf umbrella. Tuesday, June 7th against the Royals. First 20,000 fans, 15 and over.
I'm not an umbrella guy, though. I have a pretty staunch mantra against umbrellas. I just don't do them. I don't do umbrellas.
I've always been like that, too. I remember walking around, Towson's campus, pouring down rain, just backpack soaked, no umbrella. I can't.
That's what hoodies are for.
Too. Exactly. Barbecue O spatula. You can pair that with your O's the barbecue apron from last year.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good one against the Blue Jays. It's a Saturday day game. They're giving away on that Sunday, the Father's Day, a Father's Day newsboy cap. What is a newsboy cap?
Beats me.
I have no idea what that means. That's first 10,000, 18 and over. This one sounds really cool. June 25th, Orioles batting practice pullover.
That could be cool. I'm guessing
it's going to be some type of cheap, windbreaker type thing.
It sounds like too good of a thing for it to be any nice. Like it would just probably fall apart by the second time you wear it.
Mm-hmm. But I'd be down for that. I could do that. Then they're doing an Orioles T-shirt the next day. That's the thing. They're not saying what the T-shirts are, what they look like. Another Orioles T-shirt giveaway July 8th. It looks like they're not home 4th of July weekend. The big one, this was the one that everyone kind of focused in on when the schedule came out today. July 9th against the Angels. Saturday 4:05 game. Manny Machado Garden Gnome night.
Pass. Hard pass.
Are you not a Garden Gnome
pass? Guy? No, I don't do the gnomes. I can kind of do bobbleheads. It's really the Nationals and their fans have just soured me on that kind of stuff completely. Like them packing the metro and standing out on the street all day in the hot summer sun just to get a goddamn garden gnome. It's the most Washington National thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, that's what I was last year. And somehow my dad's a Yankee fan. He got tickets, sweet tickets to a game last year, and it happened to fall on that Buck Garden Gnome night. So I had him get me one. So I didn't have to wait in line because I don't know if they did everyone there. I think they only did first 20,000. But for this one, it's all fans. But yeah, I agree with you with the Nats are kind of ruining the Garden Gnome. You see they got the goddamn Chia Pets again.
Yeah, those were a disaster.
They did Jason Worth last year. They're doing Harper this year.
I didn't really follow, but didn't Nate try to start blogging, like a regular blog where he shows off the progress of his Chia Pet? Did he keep keep that going for a certain length?
No, I don't think so. I remember seeing a few of them, but then I just think that I think he got too drunk one night and probably like forgot to water it or something happened and just no more.
Pretty much the Chia Pet disappeared just like the Nationals playoff hopes and way earlier than anticipated.
Yes, it did. That was a good one. I like it. So, yeah, I mean, am I going to need the Manny Machado Garden Gnome? Absolutely. Will I be there? Probably. People waiting in line. But I just need it. I got to have it. I am a big bobblehead guy. I do have the Buck Garden Gnome, so I need it. Let's see. July 10th, the next day, they're giving away a jumbo baseball card for the first 20,000 fans.
I might as well just give away a poster. I don't know.
Exactly, but it's gonna be on like that soft styrofoam. Big one, the first big one, I think, or I guess the first is like the old school giveaway. July 22nd, Orioles floppy hat. Always a winner.
Tried and true. Always a winner. Got to get a floppy hat. I have probably 15 of them in my closet. Never gets old. Probably got one for every day of the week. Twice on Sundays. Love a floppy hat.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with those. Everyone looks good in a floppy hat. Everyone has fun. Presented by Miller Lite. First 20,000 fans, 21 and over. I like it. 2 weeks after that, they're doing Orioles batting practice night, batting practice hat night. But then the next day, it's a day game versus the Indians. Orioles 1966 replica jersey.
Ooh.
Now
I know anything like that Brooks Robinson one they gave away like 5 years ago. I am all in for that.
All right, now I have the Brooks Robinson one. I'm looking up 1966 Orioles jerseys
to see which.
Yeah, they're those like cream colored whites with the orange Orioles in cursive. Yeah, okay, they look good. All their uniforms look good. I like that. That'll be a good one. I don't know if it'll be a player name or something like that, but that would be neat. We got some fireworks. We got some stuff like that. Saturday, August 20th, Orioles bobblehead. They're not saying who. They had last year. Steve Pierce won that.
That's right.
Fans vote.
That's right. I've still got his bobblehead on my desk, but I got to get rid of some.
And then they did the Orioles. Yeah, he had the Oriole one with the mallet. That was kind of cool. Next day, they're doing an Orioles T-shirt again. They don't know. They're not saying who. Monday, August 22nd against the Nats, they're doing the Orioles wicker weave ball cap. But that's for 15 and under.
Ball cap?
Yeah, it's for 15 and under. I don't know what that is, though.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's against the Nats, so they got to do something weird. Orioles high socks in September against the Rays.
For the Reddit nerds.
Yeah. Orioles bobblehead again on September 17th. Then they do Orioles another T-shirt Friday, September 23rd against the Diamondbacks. I didn't realize they played the Diamondbacks that late. Then they got fan appreciate. Oh wait, they closed the season against the Diamondbacks. I haven't even looked at the schedule.
Somebody's got to close against the NL team.
Yeah, that's a weird.
That's very weird. That's really lame, actually.
Yeah. Then they give out it doesn't look like they're doing the Orioles, the fan voting for the bobblehead sweatshirt. Saturday, September 24th, that's their second to last home game. Hooded sweatshirt, 15 and over, first 25,000 fans. And then the next day, they're doing the Maryland flag Oriole cap, presented by DAP. But those hats are always
too loud.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love the Maryland flag on some stuff, but the hats, I don't really like them on the hats.
No, it's just too much.
Yeah, too much going on. It drives the attention
away.
I
like a subtle, maybe the flag imprint on a logo inside of the logo on top.
Yeah.
The bill is a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
But something subtle would be good. I doubt that they'll do that. They'll probably make something really loud and cheap and tacky.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So if you have to buy tickets to one of these games, one of the giveaways, which one are you going to?
I'm going to the 1966 jersey. That'd be my number one.
Okay.
Probably by good margin.
Yeah.
Floppy hat might be his top 5.
Yeah. And then I got to think one of the bobbleheads, Garden Gnome for me.
I'll take a flyer on the cage jacket.
Oh yeah. That maybe one of the what was it, the wicker weave ball cap. I'll try and buy one of those from a kid or something.
No, I don't want that actually.
Try and see what that's about. Yeah, I'm not gonna get that shit. No, yeah, that's I think solid giveaway schedule.
I think they've had better, but I thought that for sure with the amount of buzz there was about it that they'd bring back the Hawaiian shirt, but I guess not.
Yeah, that would have been pretty neat. I know I had a buddy who was going to the game because it was against the Nats, and he went to the game, told me he would give me the shirt during the game, was seeing them listed for like, $60, $70 on eBay. He told me that he couldn't give it to me, and then end up making like he sold him and his dad's. They made like I think it was like $130 or like $140 off him.
That's nuts. So, I was in New Jersey for the weekend, and I was out till 4 a.m. and was still drunk. I got in my truck and drove from New Jersey down to make it to Camden Yards. It was a 1:35 game. I got there at about 12:30, and they're already out.
Yeah,
it was 25,000, I think. So,
yeah. They were in high demand because I mean they look awesome. I got guys at the office that wear them on our casual Fridays and shit. They look good. They do.
The other part was that I held out on getting like a cheap Hawaiian shirt for a good 4 or 5 months because I knew that was on the schedule. So I was banking on it. You need one in your wardrobe just at the back of the closet for those, just for those kind of days
for those secrets days.
Exactly.
Beggars, secrets,
that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, I agree.
I thought I made more than a conscious effort, a strong effort to get down there in time, and nope, they were long gone apparently.
Well, see, that's where we need some stoolies who either work for the O's or someone who can pull strings, and try and get us to hook up something like that. I think that's all we got for the O's. What is it? 7 days? We got 7 days, pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, we're inside a week now.
Yeah. And then I think when is the rest of the team report? 2 or 3 days after?
Something like that. If I'm a player, I'm itching to go. Pitchers and catchers, whatever. I'm there if I'm play center field. If I play whatever, I'm there.
Yeah, I'm guessing that most of the players will be there. This is kind of one of those. It's not mandatory, but you better be there. Probably, if you got family stuff or something, I can understand. But I would fully expect to see JJ and Wieters and Manny and Adam and maybe some new guys, Trumbo, guys like that.
Yeah. Here's the thing before we close the door on the Orioles. How about Delman Young?
Oh my God, what? Delman Young just being Delman Young. He's doing Delman Young things. He did this in New York with that. Yeah, he did it with the Jewish cab driver. I guess it was the year before the Orioles signed him. And yeah, he apparently doesn't like Cuban valets who won't let him in a closed club. So
both of these incidents that he's had, first, one's going to bring up a debate in itself. So I think that the slurs that he used has been fucking Jew and then fucking Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get into the debate about whether just saying Jew is like a thing. Like I know first or second season of It's Always Sunny, they had a good debate about that. I don't think we really got an answer for that. But,
yep.
Fucking Cuban, the guy's Cuban, and he's just using some emphasis to describe his heritage. What's so wrong about that? I wouldn't have choked the guy. I wouldn't have done that. So I guess I shouldn't be defending him. But
yeah, I mean, this is we had this conversation the other day when Yasiel Puig, was coming up. Oh, look at this Cuban! You've got to see this Cuban. Is this the same thing, or is it
It's a Michael Scott clip, like.
Yep.
Oscar says something about being Mexican, and Michael's like, "Do you have another word for that? Like, something less offensive than that?" He's like, "The what, Mexican?"
I mean, it's like I said. I think it's in how if you lunge at someone and say, "You fucking Cuban," with both your gigantic hands and try to wrap them around his neck, I could see how that can be taken in a derogatory manner. If we're
So be
sitting
it.
here watching spring training, going, "Wow, I've never seen this Cuban kid hit the shit out of the ball like that," it's not in the derogatory term.
Fair.
I think. Well, also, we're not even talking about what happened after when he answered the door with the police.
That's also true. No, that was a part that wasn't talked about too much, and that's the most outrageous part of the story. And it's also that this incident happened pretty much at a hotel, and his residence, quote unquote, was at this hotel. So, pretty out. I mean, he had been pretty fucked up to answer the door with his dong just hanging out. And you ever heard of a peephole, dude? Like.
Now, my question when I first read it, I read it as he answered the door. I think they said with no pants on. Was he just wearing a shirt and no pants?
I think that's what was happening.
Fucking weird. That's weird.
It's real weird. That's
if you
how
wear a shirt
off like that.
If you just wear a shirt and no pants, I want absolutely nothing to do with you. And this is the guy that eats candy hearts and has snakes.
Oh, dude!
I don't want any part.
I forgot that I have to rail on you for that.
I don't want any part in a guy that I don't care if he hit the game-winning double for the Orioles in the playoffs. If you're sitting there with no shirt on and pants, he's probably wearing socks too, and that just makes everything so much more goddamn weird.
Did you see that pretty much in all the national stories, he was described as former Baltimore Orioles postseason hero, Delman Young, when he was an ALCS MVP for Detroit at one point.
Yeah. Wasn't that the year before the Orioles got him? Because he murdered the Yankees.
Yeah.
Or was it 2 years?
It was 2 years before, I think, because he had to suck for a year for us to get him easily. But
I think it was with the Phillies.
But point being, like, they're just latching on to the whole Baltimore thing. Like, oh, that sounds like a Baltimore thing to do, to open the door with your dong hanging out.
Okay, so do you listen to Elliot in the morning, DC 101?
No, I can't do the laugh. Can't do it.
I could see that. I like him. I listen to him. I switch him between him and 105.7 in the morning, and he's just the biggest. He's one of these typical DC guys. He's a big. I think he's a Yankees fan, but he's also a Nats fan. So I was listening to him when he talked about it, and he goes, "Oh, did you guys hear about?" He goes, Delman Young. This is how he said it. Delman Young, and he goes, "Oh, he assaulted a Cuban. He did this. He answered the door with his dong hanging out, and blah blah blah." And he goes, "Oh, what a great Oriole! What a great Baltimore! What a great Baltimore legend." And yeah, it's that same thing you're talking about. It's like get the hell out of here. He's not. That's not typical Oriole behavior. That's Delman Young being a racist and just continuing to do Delman Young things. He just sounded like such a salty.
Ever had an off the field incident? I can't think of a single one.
Did Albert Bell do anything?
No, he bulldozed Fernando Vina when he was with the Indians.
Yeah, you had Robbie Alomar spitting in the face of the ump.
Yeah, that's on the field, I guess. I don't know, but just criminal scumbaggery. I can't think of any that the Orioles have had. I mean, there's not a lot in baseball, but still.
No, but they didn't have. No one's ever been caught going 115 miles an hour in their sports car and had to spend time in jail or. Yeah, I mean, nothing that I can recall. So, I don't consider him. He's not a lifelong Oriole. It's not like Nick Markakis went off and did this. It's Delman Young. The guy played 1 year. A year and a half, a year and a fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Yeah, it was. I cracked up a little bit reading the story, but I don't know if he has some substance abuse problems because all this shit seems to happen late night with him, and he's out on the town. So. Delman, just put some pants on, quit drinking.
People forget he threw a goddamn bat at an umpire in the minors.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's got a pretty violent history. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's got screws loose.
Oh, for sure. So maybe that's why we haven't seen him, because I know after he got cut after they DFA'd him, he never went anywhere, and maybe he just wanted to live in a hotel and go to clubs with and have his car parked by Cubans.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I guess next week we'll be able to dive more into the spring training and stuff like that. Probably be focused a lot on the Orioles. But I guess we can also head into Terps right now. They're still smoking hot, up to number 2 in the polls. 6 games left. I mean, it's not the hardest schedule, but it's not. They barely got by Bowie State the other night, so now they're into some of the tougher teams. They got Wisconsin at home on Saturday, at Minnesota, home from Michigan, at Purdue, which that'll be a tough game. Home for Illinois senior night, and then they finish it up at Indiana. I could see a 5-1, maybe a 4-2 in this stretch. I don't think they'll win all 6.
I think they'll split between Purdue and Indiana, and they should win the rest. If they were to slip up once, wouldn't be surprising. I don't see them going 3-3 and all. The one thing that stands out among all the resumes out there that for Maryland, because everyone seems to want to bash on the fact that they haven't really beaten a really tough team other than Iowa once at home, but the fact that they don't have any bad losses at all. Their 3 losses have all been road or neutral losses. They've all been by single digits. They've all been to pretty legitimate teams, Michigan being the worst of them, and they were, playing pretty good ball at the time. So, everybody seems to want to be apprehensive about giving Maryland a number 1 vote in the polls, but why not them? Everyone else has had their run, except, I can't fight Villanova. They also don't have any bad losses. But, maybe we'll get our shot up there. I think we're going to handle Wisconsin at home just fine. Some people are kind of concerned about that because they've won 6 straight. I'm not as concerned. I think that we match up really well with them. I think that game was close late because we really just let off the gas and just kind of, imploded a little bit, and then Melo saved us. And we just don't lose at home. It's just how we do. So
can you remember the last loss there at home for Maryland?
Yeah, it was Virginia in November.
Yeah, and I think that's when they didn't have Smotrich and they didn't have Des Wells that game either. I think they still only lost by 6 or 7. So,
yeah, it was. I think it was.
That was the ACC Big Ten.
Yeah. So, and then people kind of forget that Virginia team last year would have been top 5, would have gone much further in the tournament if Justin Anderson was healthy the entire time. Because when he was healthy and they had their guys going, they were top-notch defense, locking everybody down. Then he came back and he was kind of still rehabbing with his, I think it was a thumb or a finger or something.
Finger, yeah, I think it was an index finger.
He wasn't at full strength, and that's why they lost in the tournament. But anyway, I think they should manhandle Wisconsin. Then you said they got Minnesota on the road.
At Minnesota, yeah.
And then they've got a revenge game against Michigan at home. I think that they're very obviously all winnable games, very winnable. If they win those 3 games, I think Villanova has a game on their slate next weekend.
Xavier, I think, right?
Yeah, Xavier.
Yeah, and so, they just lost them.
I'm thinking in 10 days or so, Maryland's going to be the number 1 team in the country in both polls, and it'll be pretty unanimous. Maybe Oklahoma will have a case, but that's the way I see it happening. Those last 3 games are really where things are going to be real interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like the Purdue game, we saw that game was tight. That game was not, I think they end up winning by 11, 13, something like that, but that was because they shot 10 free throws in the last minute and a half.
I was very, very impressed with AJ Hammond's inside. He is a mammoth. I had watched plenty of games with him on TV, and I knew the size, I knew the measurables, until I was ended up a couple rows behind the Turgenites the other night for that game, until I was 30 feet away from him and kind of at relatively his height. He is a mammoth. He is a bulldozer. And I've seen a lot of good teams come into Comcast Center in the last couple of years, or the last 5 or 6 years since I was a student and all that. He's the biggest. He's huge. So
yeah, and it's not like he's tall. Like that dude is beefy. He is.
He's a
He's got some width.
beefy 17. So I think the matchup, we played that matchup really well, but if they play at home at Purdue, maybe we don't play as well and we could easily drop that game. Well, it's going to be interesting in the standings. They've got Iowa is playing at Indiana in about 10 minutes as we're recording this. That is going to be huge. And they play a second matchup, I think, in a week or two. Those two teams, those two games and the Maryland finale at Indiana are the three games that are going to decide what happens in the Big Ten race. If those two teams split their games, I think it'll really just be up to us to beat Indiana in Bloomington, and we should go into the conference tournament as the 1 seed.
Yeah, and Indiana, they've been kind of up and down. Didn't they reeled off what it was like 12 or 13 in a row, I think, at one point.
Yeah, they just lost to Penn State. So
see, there's the Indiana factor. So who knows? At the end of the year, who knows what team they're going to get? What team shows up on?
I think they're frauds. They can score, but they can't defend. It's going to catch up to them eventually.
Suleiman shuts down. You put Suleiman on.
They're a good matchup for us.
On Yogi. It's who I guess. If you take Yogi out, I think Maryland can easily get by them.
Yeah, I think we're just out talent them, and we're I think the best defensive team in the conference. So
their defense. I think I was listening to Turgeon the other night. He said that their defense against Purdue was the best defense I think he'd seen them play. This year. It
was awesome. I mean, Diamond and Robert were just all over Hammond's, not giving him an inch to breathe. It was, though I wasn't watching the ball on Purdue's possessions at all. I was strictly watching whoever was with Hammond's, and it was. I would be so exhausted if I played even a minute if I was those guys. So I mean, tip of the cap to them.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. They've just been so good this year. Carter's been everything that we thought he would be and more. And same thing with Diamond. Diamond's been he's just been so good. He started out a little rough, and now he looks like every bit like the player that we thought we were getting in the eventual first round pick. Probably next year. So it's been, and him. I mean, his game on offense too. He's such a good finisher with his left hand, like right around the basket, let alone with his dominant hand. And I think Diamond will be a good NBA player just because he has the offensive game down. We've seen him stretch his shot out to the elbows, right around there.
He held his stock a lot with that defense the other night for sure.
And who did he have the 8 blocks against? Was that who was before Purdue?
Shit.
That was
it was nuts.
It was Nebraska. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, the Nebraska game.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean they were saying I heard some people say like, oh well, Nebraska was going against guys who were 6'3" and 6'4" on him. It doesn't matter to me. Block's a block. If you're totaling 8 blocks in a D1 Big Ten game.
Yeah, it just means that you're being effective in the paint.
Yeah.
So he's gone after the season for sure, and Melo is too. Supposedly Carter is leaning towards staying. We'll see with that. There's a lot that can change between now and early April when they're hopefully still playing. So this could be our 1 year for now. I mean, recruiting can turn up some more diamond stones in the next few years, but we'll see. I think that this is our best chance that we're going to have for a bit.
Yeah, I think. They and if there's a year for them to do it, not in a down year, but there are no. We've been saying it all year. There's no dominant teams. There's no Kentucky's. There's no Wisconsin's from last year. So if they can make a run, if they get a good bracket, things. I mean, if things set up nicely for them.
They seem to be a team that has a lot of good things going on, and they're never going on at the same time. And Melo and Nickens are both shooting in the low 20s, 20%.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's not like them. If they can find that, and Nickens finding his stroke, which we found a little bit, I think, against Nebraska, I think. If those two can start hitting their threes a little better, and we can, so Roberts' defense was great the other night, but it's been spotty in other games. If they can keep it going and get all the cylinders moving in the same direction, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't, why they're not the best team in the country. I think that's the most impressive part is a team like Oklahoma and Kansas and some of those Big 12 schools that are contending. I think that they're close to maxed out on their potential for this year, and we are on their level and still room to grow. So,
yeah, I could see Oklahoma. That's one of those teams who, if they have one bad game, because they're a big shooting team. If they have one bad shooting game, they're done in the tournament.
Yeah,
they depend a lot on that, on that shot. So
we can score so many different ways. We can get dirty with you down in the paint. We got to clean up the turnovers, but yeah, I'm a little concerned about West Virginia potentially. Just I feel like their matchup with us is just like that's our kryptonite. But
yeah,
but that's kind of why it was good that we played Bowie State. They run a press. I think it was just kind of a good practice to get that going, and that kind of correlates to what our weaknesses might be. So, but anyway, yeah, I think that we can beat teams in numerous ways, and that's probably our biggest asset.
Yeah. I was at the Bowie State game. They started pressing early too. I want to say there was like 9 or 10 minutes left in the first, and then they started pressing. So, yeah, it was good to see them trying to break that because it just brought back the nightmares of that last year's game. Now, real quick, I was hearing this talk the other day. Apparently, Dion Wiley is set to be pretty much close to 100% by the middle of March, in about a month. They're talking about redshirting him for this year and, having him come back next year. Do they bring Wiley back for the tournament if he says it's okay? Because I think it's obviously up to him 100%. If he doesn't feel comfortable, it's not going to happen. But if he gives Turgeon the go-ahead, should they burn his red shirt for this year and go all in?
It's a good question we've been asking ourselves since the injury happened, and we've kind of been like, okay, we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. It's a tough call, and I think that they should actually keep him on their plan. I don't think that he'll be able to get to the full strength and get into the flow. Like, there's too many. This team has grown too much together at this point in the year, and has their chemistry going. And not that he doesn't fit into it or wouldn't fit into it. It would just be putting a new piece into a puzzle that's already fitting pretty well. And then he's got a lot of talent. I think he was actually more highly sought than Melo Trimble was out of high school. So he showed flashes of it. He just wasn't as polished his freshman year. He's got the shot. He can dribble a lot better than Nickens does. So, and he's a great defender on the wing. So I think that the move for him is to just sit this year out and be a huge piece next year, and for 2 more years after that potentially.
Yeah, that's I don't think that Turgeon would do that, or I don't think that they would kind of force his hand like that to bring him back, and it could only be for 2 or 3 weeks, or a week or one game, and then he pretty much loses this whole season. So yeah, I would be fine with them kind of keeping him out.
Yeah, the mid-March is March 15th is in the week between the conference tournament and the opening round game. You're not going to throw him into the fire in the opening round game. It's just not going to happen. So, and I think consensus, even Jeff Erman and people have kind of reported that they don't know that this is how it's going to go, but the feeling that they get and the smart thing to do would be to get him the medical red shirt.
Yeah, and and even if he did play, if he came back, they're not going to be putting him out there for 20, 21, 22 minutes a game. He would be playing. He would probably just be taking some of Rune's minutes, which is, now down to, 5 or 6, 7 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I'm fine with them kind of keeping him out. Let's hope that they can put away these teams. I'd love to see them just pull away and absolutely murder, a Wisconsin or a Minnesota or a Michigan, someone like that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give people that lasting impression that they can, run away with the game that they're supposed to, unlike Nebraska where it came down to the final minutes, or a game like Purdue where they kind of just barely squeaked that out. So let's hope they can do that this week. We can dive into this. We haven't been on since we had Trey on last week for the Super Bowl, and we did the prop bets and all that. Did you think it was a boring game? Were you sitting there?
It was a snoozer.
You think so?
I'm a Baltimore fan. It just didn't seem like that kind of like Cam. I feel like a lot of people are apologizing, and the Broncos did a great job. But he also, when he did have time, he was sailing throw. Bounce. It Broncos are capable of. I mean, they have a center. So I think it was a pretty goddamn boring football game.
Yeah, it was kind of boring, but then again, at the end, it was still exciting because you had that with less than 5 minutes to go. You still had the Panthers driving down.
It you thought that they were going to put together at least a semi-interesting drive, and before it even got started was the fumble that pretty much ended it. So that was it.
Yeah. Now, okay, what are your thoughts on him not diving on the fumble? Do you believe him that he had enough time to, in that split second, to think, oh, I'm not going to dive because the angle of my knee and because this and that, or what's your thoughts on that?
I think that people think that you have way more time to make decisions than you do in real time on a football field when just shit is on fire. It's just a snap thing. Whether or not, the people are making a fair case that if his instinct was to do what he did, then that says a lot. Maybe not. But, I think that he had a mentality of going in over top of the ball and scooping it into his body and not diving on top of it. It's hard to kind of describe on the radio and all that, but if I could show it, it makes sense. I think that was his method of covering up the football and securing it. And as soon as he was going to go into that was when somebody took that space away from him. And so his only reaction was to just kind of really bad for him. But, it is what it is. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was something I'd heard was someone was saying that maybe he thought that his arm was going forward and that it was an incomplete pass. And that's why he thought, well, I'm not going to, jump on it if it's an incomplete pass. And
that's worse than anything, I think.
Yeah. No, I didn't really buy into that. But I also that play didn't lose the game for them. That play, I don't know. I honestly don't really care. I hate all this shit that was coming out with, oh, well, Brady jumped on the ball against Ndamukong Suh week 17. That's what a real MVP was doing.
That's so nonsensical.
Yeah, and then they showed a clip of him. Brady fumbled a snap, the ball at the snap, and dives under the pile to get it. But I don't know.
It's such a pissing contest with those people. I can't let this go for a sec. The people with the Brady and I've got one and Manning, the two brothers.
I was gonna say you saw that.
And you know what? I don't think anyone is saying, and it needs to be said.
Say it.
Peyton Manning was an offensive stud and watched probably 3 or 4 of his seasons on the sideline as the other team drove down against his shitty defense. So his best is completely fair in my eyes, and that should not even take anything away from what he did this year, because he more than deserved one of those Super Bowl rings and probably another one. If he came back next year and did the same exact thing, finished his way into another Super Bowl, I'd say, hey, that's totally fine, because in the mid '00s, he was that dominant, and the Colts defense was
terrible
every year, and having nobody at for as many games in the playoffs as they did. Peyton Manning deserves better than the one Super Bowl that he got before this. So, I feel like nobody has come out and said that. And I think this year just kind of evened the score from him.
Yeah, it's going into like this whole week has been, oh well, they won in spite of him. The Dilfer comparisons and guys like that, and Tom never struggled like that, and Flacco didn't struggle like that, and it's like, well, it doesn't matter. Like he won a second ring, like you said, he should have won more, because I remember as a Titans fan, I remember just seeing him twice a year, put up 330 and 3 touchdowns against them every game. Their defense was shit. They have DeQuell Jackson and Nick Harper, and not DeQuell Jackson. But they had Dwight Freeney, but their defense was always mid level, close to the bottom. They just weren't. He definitely deserved more. He's an offensive genius. I think he's a better offensive mind than Brady is, because you always had the Brady. Manning kind of did it. I don't know. He turned guys. Who were the tight ends that he turned into, household names?
Dallas Clark. We're talking about Baby.
Yeah, he had Jacob Tammy, had some good years under him. Yeah, I'm fully on. I think Brady Manning is a better quarterback than Brady. I think in the long run. And I don't know if I buy well, rings are the only thing that matter, because if that's the case, then you have Trent Dilfer being better than Dan Marino. Tavares Jackson has a goddamn ring.
Who do you win his with?
Seattle.
Oh, I guess so. Holy shit. Yeah, like, if I had to pick between the two, who's the better, it'd be a really tough call. But I think I'm just so annoyed with Patriots fans just trying to dismiss the conversation as a whole, saying, "Oh, this doesn't." Like, Tom Brady completely game managed his way into his first Super Bowl, and it's not like he was a standout offensive player in the second or third. To his credit, he made the drives at the end of those games, and those were great things. But he just won football games. He was a fantastic game manager, if I'm calling him a game manager. But
yeah,
rings do matter. He as a whole, and now winning record in the postseason, and he has a winning record head-to-head against Tom Brady in the playoffs. So whatever narrative everyone's built up over the past 15 years between the two, the only thing that Brady owns Manning on is the rings. When it comes to head-to-head, Manning wins. Yards in their career, Manning wins. Touchdowns in their career, Manning wins. It's if fans ever want to consider it.
Yeah, and I think I heard you, because the Super Bowl was Manning's 200th career win. I think they said Brady's due to break it. I think he's like 6 away or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's that, October next year, November, something like that?
Yeah, he'll get that easily.
Yeah, and then, of course, that'll go back to now this is just another thing that Brady can hold over Manning, when, like you were saying, I don't think it's all that true. It's the Patriots fans just love. Like I said, I don't know how Cam Newton and the Broncos Super Bowl ended up with Robert Kraft coming out with a quote, and the Patriots fans comparing that. So, like you said, pissing contest. It always is.
So really, what I get out of that, okay, Manning had 2 sons. Kraft's not even his dad, but let's say Brady's father had 1 son that got 4 rings. They each got their 4 rings. If it was the father's jobs to make Super Bowl winning sons, then they both got the 4 rings, and Archie Manning just fucked more, is what I get out of it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Archie had more sex with, what's her name, Olivia, I think is the mom's name.
Sure.
Yeah,
they threw in a Cooper in there for whatever reason.
Yeah, Cooper was apparently the best player out of all of them.
These are things I don't know, but
he had that spine disease or something. He had something weird going on. But how perfect was the Eli Manning face at the end?
That was – I agree with Kevin's take that, like, yeah, there's no way he actually thinks that like was so like so telling.
See, I think
it was the face. It was like any slink of the shoulder, like half an inch. That's the part.
See, I think what Eli was doing. I mean, he's a football player, so he's thinking, okay, they just scored, and I think he's going through how much time is left. Do they need to go for 2? I think he's mentally going over that. Do we need to go for 2 chart? And what do we do? What are they going to do next? And I think he's kind of just putting all the pieces together in his head. And the camera just happened. Did they have a camera on Eli the entire game or the entire fourth quarter?
They probably did. There's a billion. I mean, it's the Manning suite. You got to.
Yeah. So that's what my first thought was. He's trying to figure out. Do you kick the point after, or do you take the 2 to go up 14? So, nonetheless, it was absolutely hilarious. I loved it. It's turned into all the memes. Meanwhile, the crying Jordan memes, I was off them. And then after the Super Bowl, I was so back on them with them all on Cam's face and all the Panthers. I ate that shit up. I've
been over it and then back, mostly over them. But like every once in a while, I see one that just like was the Beckham catch with the tissue box leaning back and offering a tissue to Josh Norman. That was
yeah, I did see. I saw one of him catching the tear. He was catching a Josh Norman tear. Yeah, and then so let's talk about this real quick before we go. The Cam Newton the press conference. What are your thoughts on this? Or is this a non-story? Is this?
I mean, stories are going to happen. It's Super Bowl, 7 months of not football in front of us. So you got to talk about something. So I guess I completely buy into that. Like, dude, he just and he lost it in heartbreaking fashion. And the excuse with Harris being like across the room, pretty much like spitting in his eye. I think it's a fair point. I think it's very valid. Like, I'd be steamed if that was happening in the room right by me, right after. So I think that I appreciate the how candid he was, and it's good to see some emotions out of your guys like that. And I was kind of a lukewarm Cam guy, not really a Cam guy for most of the season, and I kind of came around on him. For a fresh LeBron bullshit. Yeah, it's respect. He would handle it better, but like, I'm certainly not gonna get on him.
Yeah, I mean, I was hearing people say, "Oh, well, my kids look up to Cam, and that was disgusting. The way he acted, the way he stormed off. I don't want my kids seeing their hero and this, disrespect members of the media and this and that." And it's like, give me a goddamn break. Like, Cam Newton walking away because, like you said, because he could hear Chris Harris Jr., like you said, pretty much kicking dirt on his shoes right after he had won the Super Bowl, and he gets up and walks away rather than, dropping a big FU into the crowd or into the microphone or something like that, or cursing out some reporter for asking some dumb cliche question that he's going to have to answer a million times until, the beginning of football season. Like, I thought that was the shit that I was seeing on Twitter of people going, "Oh, you grow up. You're a 28-year-old man. You're 26-year-old man. You need to grow up and, act like an adult." It's like, what did Cam Newton do to you to make you feel like uncomfortable or threatened? I like that's what I couldn't understand, is why people were so upset at Cam for what he did because he wouldn't answer a reporter's question.
The other story Yeah, I think you're about to go right into it. The story that people are talking about as much is that the questions that these reporters were asking were awful questions. Like these people's reporter cards should be stolen away from them. They should be fired immediately. They should be. I have no idea how you get credentialed to end up in the super. They didn't know what to say to him. Like there was nobody less professional in that room than those reporters. And that's not like, oh, like they weren't giving him anything. They were asking stupid questions.
And the questions, they're the same things over and over and over. What did the Broncos do that was different? I don't know. They were better than us. Well, how could you have better prepared? I don't know. And plus, meanwhile, this is 10 minutes after the game. The guy's head is still probably spinning, hasn't even had time to sit down and take a piss and change. And they're shoving microphones in his face. That's another thing I hate about sports is the minute the game's over, the minute a guy gets drafted or this or that, they shove a microphone right in his face. And the guy, they have no time to sit down and think, maybe give them time to go home, give them a day, talk to them the next day where they can go home and watch film. Because Cam hadn't seen the replay of him not jumping on that football yet, or he doesn't know what he could have done different. Like, just
I disagree with a lot of what you just said.
I thought it was terrible.
I disagree with a lot of that stuff that you just said. I think that the sports are here for our entertainment. It's why we watch. They don't necessarily I guess they kind of, the athletes owe us some of this. It's what pays the bills. We watch for the entertainment. They entertain us. That's how checks get cashed. But you can't complain about the answers that you get, I guess is what I'm saying. And those, like, we get moments like the Richard Sherman thing and all that, and that's great entertainment. That's like I said, that's part of why we watch. But what a player has to say is his prerogative. Mm-hmm. He doesn't I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on what I'm saying here, but I think you get what I'm trying to drive home here.
Yeah, I get you. But yeah, and like you said, the athletes, I guess they have to answer because it's in the contract, and that's part of the them signing the deal. But then again, they also have the right to pull a Marshawn Lynch, and thank you for your question. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm just here so I don't get fined. They can do that all they want. If you needed a Cam Newton quote from after the Super Bowl to do your Super Bowl story, if you're one of the reporters, then you're not doing your job right.
Correct.
I don't know. That kind of all pissed me off. I'm still in shock that it's 5 days after the Super Bowl and we're still talking about it. I'm still hearing it on the radio. People calling in this morning.
I still hear it on the radio about the Contra review, but
yeah.
Whatever. Maybe I'll blog it. I have an idea of how to somewhat solve the whole review system, and it involves a jury.
Yeah, go ahead. But throw it in the drafts. We got.
Maybe I'll write. All ready to go for going on 36 hours now, I think. So.
Yep. All right. I think that's it. We covered a lot. We got, hopefully by the time people are hearing this, maybe we'll have signed Gallardo and Fowler, and they can just skip through that first part that we were talking about. Like I said, next week we have the O's heading down to Sarasota. Terps will have hopefully wrapped up a win or two, and then maybe some more Caps news, and I think that's about it. And Combine is when? 2 or 3 weeks?
I don't know. So, I guess if you're a listener, give us some suggestions on what you want to hear. Give us some suggestions, or if you know somebody who would be a good guest, let us know. I think we've got a couple people that we don't know. We look forward to that, but we can always use more. So give us some feedback. Feedback's always good. So that's what I got for this week.
Yep. Yeah, I think that'll close it out pretty well. We will see you guys next week.